So we are right now going to set up for some of the workshops. So we got Carl, Hannah, Jared's behind the camera. You guys aren't going to want to miss these workshops. They're going to be fun. We're setting up for talking about harvesting everything from grains to hay to other things. We're also going to be doing a workshop about animal power, and you're not going to want to miss that, because that's an important part of self-sufficiency. So this is rye, and it's cereal rye. So this is, you can make bread out of this. You can do whatever you want to do. And this was ready, and it's absolutely beautiful. I will open up a head here. I don't want to open up all of it. And that's rye. Who wants to try with the sickle to start cutting some of this? And I'm gonna go grab a couple other things in the meantime. Okay, so key thing, when you're doing this, don't hack your leg, because it'll hurt. Everything I say is from experience. So I use this, grab some, that's probably too far, so take a little bit smaller chunk, and I just use it to pull, gather in your hand, get your legs out of the way, and hit 4 inches above the ground. Just take a little bit at a time, and it's like a wrist movement. Just like that, and then you take that, just set it with all the heads in the same direction, because if you start putting them mixed up, it's really hard to work by hand to thrash it all. Yeah, and take a little less of it. Yep, and I'll just take a good swing with your wrist. Yep, exactly. Perfect. Guys, won't be too long. We won't let you die in the heat. Okay, so we have in here some flax that I harvested last year that we're gonna get to show people. So this is the flax. Once you have your flax, if I break this, just crack it, crack it, crack it. You see that? Underneath the husk, there's like these strings. It's like thread. And that's what turns into your linen fiber right there. Super incredible. If you haven't grown anything in your life, the easiest thing to grow is grain, any grain. Wheat, oats, rye, flax. There's nothing easier to grow, unless you're talking about this grain, which this is an ancient grain. This is red fife. It is wheat before they did any hybridization, but it still has the traditional look. The problem is, if you get any older, like einkorn, which everybody's raving about, you can forget harvesting that by hand. It's just near impossible. So red fife is like the oldest I would go, but it's also tall, which makes it really hard to harvest because when the wind blows, it falls over. So sticking with like a hard red winter wheat, so I have a couple different varieties that I've grown over the years and kept myself, are fantastic. And flax, this is super easy. I mean, you just pull the whole thing, plant up by the roots once it's ready. So if I take one of these little balls, just crush it in my finger. you can see, it's just like regular flax that you'd buy at the store. Except this stuff tastes way better. It's phenomenal. Right now we're going to get the honing stones, and they're for use with sharpening your scythes and your sickles. So your scythes and your sickles need two things to be sharp. They need to be peened and they need to be honed. Peening is the process of actually stretching the blade. You hammer it between metal and it stretches it out ultra thin, and then you hone it, which is like a metal grinding stone that you're dragging over it to make that fine point and straighten out the little fibers on the metal. So you need to do both those things in order to cut nicely. If you just try and hone right away and sharpen, it's not going to cut nice. You want that super thin metal that just slices through the grass. And honing stones have to be used wet. They can't be dry. I mean, they could be, but they're meant to be used wet. Okay, holster, honing stones, two different kinds, manufactured, natural.
Is that in water?
Yep, it's in water. They're meant to be used wet. And that's how it takes the metal particles and doesn't let it stick on the blade. We're gonna take this because we're gonna need some electric wire. Now, let's see. Yeah, it's a little bit brittle. So, now I'll tell you how to tie a sheave. Can I have the sickle for 1 second? You get some green grass. That is pretty brittle, so I probably won't be able to tie it. So you grab this. I should be able to get this all in one sheave. So when the Bible says bring in the sheaves, this is what it's talking about. Take your grass, twist it, and then you take your end, slide it underneath. Done. Beautiful sheave of rye. Okay. So we're getting set up here. We got all our grain, we got all our size, sickle, our sharpening tools that we're going to be demonstrating, and how to grow these grains, because when you need to be self-sufficient, this is a very big part of that. And it might be easier than you think.